The spaceport was alive with energy. Ships of all shapes and sizes hovered near the docking bays, their metal hulls glinting under the bright lights. Beacons flashed, people shouted, and the air smelled faintly of fuel and fried food. This was the day every rich and powerful being in the sector had waited for, the auction of the century. At the center of the commotion stood the legendary ship, the Ecliptor. No one had seen it fully in action, but stories about its intelligence and speed had traveled across countless star systems. Rumors said the Ecliptor could think, choose, and even decide who it wanted to serve. Everyone assumed it would go to the highest bidder, but something about it whispered of secrets beyond mere money. The bidders were impressive and intimidating. There were towering alien moguls with shimmering scales, humans in sleek suits with gold trim, and strange robotic traders who communicated in bursts of light and sound. Each of them had prepared to outbid the others, each determined to claim the Ecliptor as their own. Jonas, the janitor of the spaceport, stood at the edge of the crowd, pushing his mop bucket carefully to avoid the throngs of feet. He wasn't supposed to be here, at least not like this. He was only here to clean up after the mess of the day, but curiosity had drawn him closer. Jonas had worked at the spaceport for 10 years, mopping floors, polishing windows, and fixing small problems. He knew every corner of the vast facility, yet he had never seen anything like this. "Look at this," a tall, arrogant man said, tapping the holographic display on his wrist. "They say this ship chooses its pilot. That's absurd. A machine has no feelings." Jonas smiled faintly. Machines might not have feelings, but people had never seen a machine like this before. There was something almost alive about the Ecliptor. Its hull shimmered in a way that made Jonas's heart skip a beat. It was as if the ship was observing the crowd, sizing up each person carefully, silently laughing at their greed. The auctioneer, a small creature with 3 eyes and a voice that echoed strangely, stepped forward. "Welcome everyone to the grand auction. Today you will bid for the ship of legends, the Ecliptor. But remember, this ship has a mind of its own. It will not go to the highest bidder, nor the most powerful. It will go to the one it chooses." A murmur spread through the crowd. Some laughed nervously. Others straightened their suits, confident that money could conquer anything. Jonas quietly mopped near the edge, listening, fascinated. The bidding began. The first offer came from a robotic trader who waved metallic arms and sent a stream of flashing lights, 100 million credits. A human in a sleek suit raised the stakes to 150 million, then 200 million. With each bid, the crowd grew more excited. Cameras floated through the air, recording every moment. Jonas watched silently. He had no intention of bidding. He had no money, no plans to own a ship. He just wanted to see what would happen. Yet, the more he watched, the more he felt the ship's attention shift. It wasn't responding to the numbers or the flashy displays. It seemed curious. Curious in the way a person might be when they see something interesting and unexpected. The bids climbed higher and higher. 250 million, 300 million, 350 million. The rich and powerful were sweating now, their pride pushing them to offer more than they had planned. The Ecliptor seemed to pulse with a soft light, almost as if it were laughing. Jonas's mop brushed against a small piece of trash. He bent down to pick it up, and the ship's glow shifted. His heart jumped. Could it be? He had no idea why, but it felt like the ship had noticed him. "Next bid!" the auctioneer cried, waving his arms. The crowd shouted over each other. 400 million, 450. Then the bidding slowed. Something strange was happening. The Ecliptor's light grew warmer, almost welcoming, but it was no longer focused on the bidders. It was looking at Jonas. Jonas froze. His hand rested on the mop handle. He tried to step back, But the crowd pressed closer, all eyes on the rising bids. Yet for the first time, Jonas felt something calm and patient amid the chaos. "Ladies and gentlemen," the auctioneer said, his three eyes widening, "it seems we have an unexpected development." Jonas felt a tap on his shoulder. He turned to see a young assistant holding a small tablet. "Sir, they want you to bid. The ship, it's signaling." "Signaling?" Jonas whispered. He had no idea what that meant. He wasn't rich. He wasn't important. He was just a janitor. "Yes," the assistant said. "It's almost like it wants you to participate." The crowd erupted in laughter. "A janitor?" a human bidder shouted. "This is ridiculous. We've offered millions and it chooses him? Impossible!" Jonas swallowed hard. He didn't know why the ship seemed to focus on him, but he could feel the weight of the moment. Something about the Ecliptor recognized him. Not his money, not his power, not his skill, but something else entirely. Something human. The auctioneer raised his arms. "Very well. The final bid is a choice, not a number. The Ecliptor has made its decision." A hush fell over the crowd. The lights of the ship brightened, casting shimmering reflections across the spaceport floor. Jonas's heart pounded in his chest. He wanted to step back, wanted to run, but his feet felt rooted to the ground. "Jonas," the assistant whispered, her eyes wide. "Yes?" he asked, though his voice trembled. The ship's glow enveloped him like a gentle wave. A soft hum filled the air, almost musical. Jonas felt a warmth he had never known, a quiet acknowledgement. A welcome. It chose me," Jonas said, disbelief in his voice. He looked around. The bidders were shouting, complaining, trying to convince the ship to reconsider. But the glow remained fixed on him. The auctioneer raised his voice over the chaos. "Ladies and gentlemen, the Ecliptor has spoken. It has chosen its pilot. It is Jonas, the janitor." The crowd fell silent. Some laughed in disbelief. Others whispered, murmured, and muttered under their breath. No one could understand why a simple janitor, someone with no rank, no fortune, no fame, had been chosen over the galaxy's wealthiest beings. Jonas felt the ship's hum grow stronger. It was as if it were communicating without words. He could sense curiosity, intelligence, and even a kind of humor in the vibration. You want me?" Jonas asked aloud, feeling ridiculous. The ship pulsed brighter, almost nodding. Jonas's hands shook. He had spent his life cleaning floors, fixing leaks, and quietly watching the comings and goings of others. Now, a legendary ship, famous across the galaxy, had chosen him. The assistant stepped closer. "Sir, you need to board it. The Ecliptor will not wait forever." Jonas took a deep breath, steadying himself. With cautious steps, he walked toward the ship. The air around it felt electric, alive with energy and promise. He reached the entry ramp, feeling the hum under his feet. "Welcome aboard," a voice said, not loud, not commanding, but gentle. "I have waited for you." Jonas froze. The voice was soft but unmistakable. The ship could speak. It spoke to him directly. He smiled nervously. I'm Jonas. I don't know what to do." "You will learn," the ship replied, "and together we will go where no one else can." The crowd outside erupted once more, some cheering, some shouting, but Jonas didn't notice. He stepped fully onto the ship and looked around. The interior was unlike anything he had ever seen, sleek, futuristic, yet warm and inviting. Lights adjusted to his presence. Screens displayed information in ways that felt intuitive. Jonas realized something important. The Ecliptor didn't just need a pilot. It needed a human, not a billionaire, not a soldier. A human with curiosity, empathy, and courage, the very traits that no amount of money could buy. As the doors closed behind him, the ship hummed softly, preparing for departure. Jonas's heart raced with excitement, fear, and wonder. He had no idea what lay ahead. But he knew one thing clearly. This was only the beginning of an adventure that could change everything. Outside, the galaxy waited, full of danger, mystery, and opportunity. And somewhere deep in the Ecliptor's circuits, a small, secret thought sparkled like a star. It had made the right choice. Jonas leaned back, gripping a railing, and whispered to himself, "Let's see what we can do, together." The Ecliptor hummed, as if answering, "Yes, let's begin." Jonas had never felt anything like it. The doors of the Ecliptor slid shut behind him, sealing him in a space that was alive, yet calm. Panels of soft light glimmered across the walls, shifting gently as if responding to his every glance. The hum beneath his feet was no longer just mechanical. It had rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. This is incredible," Jonas whispered to himself. He had seen ships before, had walked through luxury liners and freighters, but nothing like this. The Ecliptor seemed to be alive in every sense. "You may call me Ecliptor," a smooth voice said, echoing lightly around the cabin. "I have been waiting for someone like you." Jonas froze. "Waiting for me?" His heart raced. "But I'm just a janitor." "You are human," the ship replied, "and humans can see solutions that no algorithm can calculate. You are honest, curious, and willing to take risks for good reasons. These qualities matter more than money or power." Jonas laughed nervously. "Well, that's flattering. But I have no experience piloting a ship like this." "You will learn," Ecliptor said. "I will guide you, but first, you must understand me." Jonas nodded. He had no choice, really. The ship was his now, or, as the auction had proven, the ship had chosen him, and somehow he trusted it. The cabin lights shifted, revealing holographic controls that hovered in midair. Jonas reached out instinctively, and the controls responded to his touch. Buttons and levers didn't feel mechanical. They felt like extensions of his own hands. "Interesting," he muttered. "It knows me." "Yes," Ecliptor said. "I can detect intentions, emotions, and understanding. We will communicate in many ways. Words are only the beginning." Jonas swallowed hard, trying to calm the mix of excitement and fear inside him. "Okay. So, where do we start?" "Observation first," the ship replied. "You will learn by watching. We are not alone in the galaxy, and others will notice what has happened today." Jonas's stomach tightened. He thought of the bidders, the smug humans and powerful aliens who had tried to buy him out. They would not give up easily. Before he could dwell on it, the ship pulsed gently. "They may try to force their will. They may send threats or sabotage. But remember, they rely on greed and tools. You rely on creativity and understanding. That is your strength." Jonas nodded. Somehow, the ship's calm confidence gave him courage. The first lesson came almost immediately. The Ecliptor guided Jonas through the cabin, showing him controls that felt more like an extension of his mind than buttons or levers. Each system responded not to mere physical input, but to thought and intent. Jonas moved his hands tentatively, imagining the ship turning, lifting, or accelerating. Slowly, the Ecliptor followed. "It's amazing," Jonas said. "It's like the ship knows what I'm thinking before I do." "Correct," the ship replied. "I am aware of potential outcomes. I respond to intent, emotion, and understanding. This allows us to act faster than anyone else." Jonas smiled. He could imagine the smug bidders' faces if they could see him now. Small, ordinary, and yet controlling a legendary ship. Hours passed as Jonas learned the basics of piloting. He discovered that Ecliptor could anticipate dangers, warn him before a mechanical failure, and even suggest strategies for avoiding attacks. It was like having a teacher, a friend, and a protector all in one. Suddenly, a series of alarms blinked across the cabin. Jonas jumped. "What is it?" he asked. "They have noticed us," Ecliptor said. "The bidders you saw at the auction will not accept my choice. They are preparing to intervene. Some may send drones, others may attempt hacking. You must be prepared." Jonas's pulse quickened. "So, they're going to attack?" "Not necessarily to destroy," Ecliptor said. "They seek control. They do not understand loyalty, only power. You will need to use your human advantage, creativity, adaptability, and reasoning." Jonas took a deep breath. He had never fought anyone before, never faced danger like this. Yet somehow he felt ready. The Ecliptor's calm guidance gave him courage he didn't know he had. Outside, in the spaceport, robotic drones began to stir. Holographic displays from rival bidders flashed warnings. Jonas could see them through the Ecliptor's transparent walls, small metallic figures that hovered like angry hornets. "Do not fear them," Ecliptor said. "They rely on predictable patterns. You do not." Jonas nodded. He adjusted his hands over the controls, thinking quickly. Using the ship's guidance, he imagined movements that were unexpected, zigzags, feints, and sudden shifts. The drones faltered, unable to predict his decisions. "This is amazing," Jonas muttered. "It's like a game." Ecliptor hummed softly. "It is more than a game. Survival requires strategy and understanding. The galaxy is full of beings who cannot see beyond their own gain. We will need to act with care." Hours turned into a tense day. Jonas learned to anticipate attacks, to communicate with the ship in subtle ways, and to use creativity over force. Each maneuver, each decision, deepened the bond between human and machine. By the end of the first day, Jonas had discovered something extraordinary. The ship not only responded to him, it seemed to trust him. In a way, that trust was stronger than any contract or payment. Ecliptor had chosen him not because he was wealthy, clever, or brave, but because he was human in the best way. That evening, as the stars stretched infinitely outside, Jonas finally sat down, exhausted but exhilarated. "You're incredible," he said softly. "I never thought a ship could care, I guess." "I do not feel as humans do," Ecliptor replied. "But I can recognize qualities that serve life and reason. That is why I chose you." Jonas smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. "Well, I'm glad you did. I just hope I can live up to it." "You already have," Ecliptor said. "The test is not in strength, but in understanding, courage, and kindness. You will need all three in the days to come." Just then, a soft beep echoed through the cabin. A holographic message appeared, showing the face of a human in a sharp suit. "Jonas," the figure said, voice full of annoyance and disbelief, "hand over the ship immediately. You have no right to it." Jonas frowned. I can't do that." Ecliptor hummed in agreement. "You will not. They rely on fear and threats. We rely on strategy, communication, and understanding. This is your advantage." The human in the hologram scowled. "You don't know what you're dealing with. That ship belongs to the highest bidder, not some janitor." Jonas took a deep breath, gripping the controls. "Maybe," he said slowly, "but this ship chose me, and it's not going to change its mind." Ecliptor pulsed brighter, almost as if to emphasize his words. "Exactly. And together, we will show them why humans are remarkable." The human's image blinked out, leaving Jonas alone with the ship. He let out a slow breath and leaned back, feeling a sense of pride and purpose he had never known. He wasn't just a janitor anymore. He was the pilot of the Ecliptor, the chosen companion of a ship that was legendary across the galaxy. "What now?" Jonas asked. "Now," Ecliptor replied. "We prepare. There are dangers approaching, But more importantly, there are opportunities that only we can take advantage of. You will learn, adapt, and act. I will guide you. Together, we will navigate the unknown." Jonas nodded. He looked out at the stars stretching beyond the spaceport. For the first time in his life, he felt truly alive. He was not wealthy. He was not powerful. But he was human, and that was enough. As the ecliptor hummed gently beneath him, Jonas realized that the adventure had only just begun. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and threats, but he no longer felt small or helpless. He had a partner, a friend, and a ship that trusted him. Somewhere deep inside the ecliptor, circuits and sensors pulsed in quiet satisfaction. It had chosen well. Jonas was exactly what it needed, a human who could think, care, and act when others only chased power. And so, with stars stretching endlessly before him, Jonas and the ecliptor prepared for the challenges that awaited. Whatever the galaxy sent their way, they would face it together, because sometimes it was not wealth, status, or weapons that mattered. Sometimes it was humanity, and nothing else. The first light of the distant sun glinted off the ecliptor's sleek hull as it hovered above the spaceport, waiting for its pilot to truly understand what it meant to command it. Jonas had spent hours exploring the cabin, learning the ship's controls and absorbing every instruction the AI had patiently offered. Each panel, lever, and holographic display seemed less intimidating than before, and slowly he began to feel the first hints of confidence. "You are improving," the ship's voice said, soft but firm. "Your coordination is becoming intuitive. Soon you will respond to situations without hesitation." Jonas rubbed the back of his neck. "I hope so. I still feel like I'm fumbling around half the time." "You are not fumbling," Ecliptor replied. "You are learning. Learning requires patience, observation, and adaptability, all of which you possess." Jonas smiled. It was strange to hear encouragement from a ship, but somehow it felt genuine. For the first time, he understood why the Ecliptor had chosen him. It wasn't about skill or wealth, it was about the way he thought, the way he approached challenges, and the way he remained calm under pressure. He stepped over to one of the holographic displays, which flickered to life with schematics of the ship's systems. "Show me the engines again," he said. "I want to understand how we can get maximum speed without damaging anything." The ship's glow brightened. "Observe carefully. Each engine module has optimal performance parameters. You may not push them recklessly, but you can use ingenuity to enhance efficiency." Jonas leaned forward, studying the projections. He noticed that certain conduits responded differently depending on the energy distribution. By rerouting the power through alternate channels, he realized he could boost acceleration slightly without overloading the systems. "I think I've got it," he murmured. He adjusted a few controls and the ship responded instantly. The hum deepened, and the view outside the cockpit shifted as if the ship was acknowledging his understanding. "Correct," Ecliptor said. "You are learning to think like a pilot, but also like me. This is important. We must work as one." Jonas felt a surge of pride. For someone who had spent most of his life mopping floors and fixing small problems, the ability to pilot a legendary ship was dizzying. Yet, he reminded himself to stay focused. He wasn't just learning to fly, he was learning to survive. The first real test came sooner than expected. A faint blip appeared on the ship's sensors, indicating a small drone approaching at high speed. Jonas stiffened. "What is that?" "An automated interference unit," Ecliptor explained. "Likely sent by the bidders. They do not take losing lightly. You must be ready to respond." Jonas took a deep breath and moved his hands over the controls. Ecliptor guided him with subtle vibrations and shifts in the holographic displays, showing him patterns in the drone's movement. Jonas quickly improvised a maneuver, weaving the Ecliptor in a zigzag pattern that confused the drone's targeting system. "Good thinking," Ecliptor said. "Humans excel at improvisation. Machines often fail when faced with unpredictable patterns." Jonas grinned. "I guess all those years dodging spills and boxes at the spaceport finally paid off." The drone skidded harmlessly past, spinning out of control. Jonas exhaled in relief. "That was close." "Close but manageable," the ship replied. "Remember, danger will continue to arrive in many forms. Anticipation and quick thinking are your allies." Over the next few days, Jonas trained relentlessly. He practiced navigation, communication, and emergency procedures. Each time, the Ecliptor adjusted its guidance to match his learning speed. Jonas discovered he could detect subtle shifts in energy flows, predicting when minor malfunctions would occur. He learned to read the ship's mood, so to speak. Its hum, its glow, and the slight vibration of the controls gave him insight into what needed attention. "You are adapting faster than I anticipated," Ecliptor said one evening as they hovered above a calm planet. "Your intuition is becoming a strength. Soon, you will be ready to leave the spaceport safely." Jonas smiled but didn't speak. He was still nervous. The galaxy was vast, and he had no idea what dangers awaited beyond the spaceport's boundaries. Yet he felt a growing sense of confidence. He and the Ecliptor were becoming a team. Then, the first serious challenge arrived. A squad of drones appeared suddenly, cutting across the spaceport's outskirts. Jonas froze for a moment, but Ecliptor guided his hands gently. "Focus on patterns, not numbers," the ship instructed. "Predict intent, not position." Jonas took a deep breath and followed the guidance. He imagined the drones' paths, tracing the most likely trajectories. Then he moved the Ecliptor preemptively, causing the drones to collide with each other in a harmless tangle of sparks and lights. "Impressive," Ecliptor said. "You are learning to anticipate, to outthink, rather than overpower." Jonas laughed softly. "I never thought I'd be good at this. Not in a million years." "You underestimate your capabilities," the ship replied. "Humans often do." Days passed, and Jonas's skills grew. He discovered new ways to use the ship's features: cloaking modules, stealth maneuvers, and energy redirection systems. Each trial pushed him further, and each success built his confidence. One evening, as Jonas rested in the cabin, Ecliptor spoke again. "Jonas, the bidders are persistent. They may attempt more direct action, hacking attempts, sabotage, or even sending mercenaries." "You must be prepared." Jonas frowned. "So they won't just leave me alone?" "Not likely," the ship replied. "They rely on predictable tactics. You rely on adaptability, reasoning, and creativity. This is your strength." Jonas nodded. He realized that he was no longer just learning to pilot a ship. He was learning to survive in a galaxy where cunning, morality, and quick thinking mattered more than wealth or force. The next day, the interference escalated. A team of small ships approached, sleek and armed with tools designed to disable the Ecliptor. Jonas tensed. "Okay, what do we do?" "Observe first," Ecliptor said. "They will act as expected. You must act as unexpected." Jonas studied the incoming vessels and noticed patterns in their movements. Using a combination of evasive maneuvers and subtle energy pulses, he disrupted their sensors without harming them. The small fleet faltered, unable to predict the Ecliptor's responses. "Excellent," Ecliptor said. "You are learning to use the environment and your own insight to overcome challenges. Remember, strategy is not always about confrontation." Jonas smiled, feeling a thrill of accomplishment. For the first time, he understood why the ship had chosen him. Not because he was the strongest, the fastest, or the richest, but because he could think, adapt, and care in ways that no machine or mercenary could. By the end of the week, Jonas and the Ecliptor had become an inseparable team. Jonas could pilot the ship with a confidence he never imagined, and the ship responded to his intentions with precision and awareness. "You are ready for more," Ecliptor said. "Soon, we will leave the spaceport entirely. Beyond it lies the galaxy, vast, mysterious, and full of challenges. You must be prepared to make decisions that no machine could make alone." Jonas nodded. "I'm ready," he said, though a hint of nervousness remained. "I don't know what's out there, but I know I want to face it with you." The ship hummed warmly, a sound that felt almost like reassurance. "Together, we will navigate the unknown. Your human qualities, curiosity, courage, and creativity will guide us where no algorithm can." As night fell on the spaceport, Jonas leaned back in the captain's chair and gazed at the stars beyond the windows. The galaxy stretched endlessly, filled with wonders and dangers alike. He realized that he was no longer a janitor. He was a pilot, a partner to a legendary ship, and a human capable of remarkable things. And somewhere deep in the Ecliptor's circuits, a quiet thought glimmered. This human was exactly what it had been waiting for. Tomorrow, the challenges would increase. Rival bidders, mercenaries, and the unpredictable dangers of the galaxy would test them. But Jonas felt ready. With patience, creativity, and trust, he and the Ecliptor could face anything. Because sometimes it wasn't wealth, weapons, or status that mattered. Sometimes it was humanity itself, and nothing else could replace it. The Ecliptor glided silently out of the spaceport, its hull gleaming under the distant sun. Jonas gripped the controls, feeling the hum of the ship beneath him. It was no longer just a vessel, it was a partner, a guide, and a companion in a galaxy full of unknowns. "Are we ready?" Jonas asked, glancing at the ship's interface. "Ready," the ship replied. "Beyond this point lies uncharted space. We will face challenges that no simulation can predict. Your human insight is essential." Jonas nodded. He felt a mixture of excitement and nerves. Leaving the safety of the spaceport meant leaving behind everything familiar. Yet, for the first time in his life, he felt capable, and more importantly, he felt needed. As the Ecliptor accelerated, the stars stretched into long streaks, painting the darkness of space with light. Jonas marveled at the view. "It's beautiful," he whispered. "Beauty is often a matter of perspective," the ship replied. "But in truth, you humans often see it more clearly than others. Emotion adds depth to understanding." Jonas smiled. He realized that part of the reason the ship had chosen him was because he saw the world differently. He thought not just about power, but about consequences, about fairness, and about the life of others. Their first encounter came sooner than expected. A sleek black ship emerged from a nearby asteroid field, its sensors glowing red. Jonas tensed. "Who is that?" "They are mercenaries, likely hired by the bidders who lost the auction," Ecliptor said. "They do not understand loyalty. They rely on force and intimidation." Jonas took a deep breath. "So we have to stop them?" "Not necessarily by force," the ship replied. "We will use strategy. Sometimes understanding and misdirection are stronger than weapons." Jonas nodded and studied the approaching vessel. He noticed that its sensors operated in predictable patterns. Using this knowledge, he guided the Ecliptor to move unpredictably, weaving in and out of the asteroid field. The mercenary ship tried to follow, but the Ecliptor's movements were too fast, too clever. "Look at that!" Jonas said, a grin spreading across his face. "We're already outsmarting them." "Yes," the ship said. "Your intuition and quick thinking give us an advantage. Humans can adapt in ways machines cannot anticipate." The mercenary ship finally disengaged, retreating into the darkness. Jonas exhaled in relief. That was intense. "Experience builds skill," Ecliptor said. "You are learning quickly, Jonas, but this is only the beginning." As they traveled deeper into space, Jonas began to notice subtle details, strange energy fluctuations, faint signals, and anomalies that could indicate either natural phenomena or hidden threats. Ecliptor guided him patiently, teaching him how to detect danger before it arrived. "Humans are naturally curious," Ecliptor said one evening as they drifted past a glowing nebula. "Curiosity can lead to discovery or to danger. You must balance both." Jonas nodded, staring at the swirling colors. "I guess that's why you chose me. I notice things others ignore." "Yes," the ship replied, "and your moral sense ensures that your curiosity does not harm others unnecessarily. This quality is rare." Their next challenge was more direct. A fleet of small attack drones appeared on the scanners, moving quickly and forming a semicircle around the Ecliptor. Jonas's pulse quickened. "They want us trapped. They rely on predictable tactics," Ecliptor said. "We will respond differently." Jonas studied the fleet and realized that their movements were patterned. He suggested a series of unexpected maneuvers to the ship, using the asteroid field as cover while simultaneously projecting decoy signals. The drones collided harmlessly with each other or lost track of the Ecliptor. "Excellent improvisation," the ship said. "You are learning to combine strategy and creativity. Humans excel in unpredictability." Jonas grinned. "I think we're starting to work as a real team." Ecliptor pulsed warmly. "Indeed. Trust is essential. You trust me to guide you, and I trust you to make decisions that require judgment beyond calculation." As the day progressed, Jonas became more confident. He learned to anticipate not only the movements of enemies, but also the consequences of his own actions. He began experimenting with the ship's energy distribution, testing defensive shields, propulsion systems, and stealth modules. Each success strengthened his bond with the ship, and each failure taught him humility. Then a new signal appeared, larger, faster, and more organized than the drones. Jonas's heart skipped a beat. "This isn't just a test. They're sending reinforcements." "Correct," Ecliptor said. "These are professional mercenaries, likely the best our rivals could hire. They do not respect money or authority. They rely on intimidation. Your task is to neutralize the threat without direct confrontation." Jonas thought quickly. "So, we have to outsmart them again." "Exactly," the ship replied. "We will use misdirection, unpredictability, and speed. Your creativity is essential." Using the ship's advanced sensors, Jonas identified weak points in the mercenaries' formation. He guided the Ecliptor in an intricate dance, weaving through the void and projecting holographic decoys that confused the enemy's targeting systems. The mercenaries fired, but their attacks were ineffective. "Keep going," Jonas muttered, excitement replacing fear. "They can't predict us." The battle continued for hours. Jonas pushed himself, thinking faster, anticipating movements, and using the ship's guidance in harmony with his own instincts. Slowly, the mercenaries retreated, frustrated and defeated. Jonas leaned back in his chair, breathing heavily. "We did it," he said, a wide grin spreading across his face. "Yes," Ecliptor replied. "You have demonstrated that humans are capable of creativity, intuition, and moral judgment. These qualities are what make you effective against threats that machines cannot understand." Jonas felt a surge of pride. He realized that this partnership with the Ecliptor was more than just piloting a ship. It was a collaboration, a blending of human insight and artificial intelligence. Together, they were stronger than either alone. As they continued their journey, Jonas noticed something unusual. A faint, encrypted signal pulsed intermittently from a distant star system. "What's that?" he asked. "An anomaly," Ecliptor replied. "It may be natural, or it may be artificial. Investigation is advisable, but caution is required." Jonas felt a thrill of anticipation. The galaxy was vast, and every discovery carried risk. Yet, he no longer felt fear. With the Ecliptor, he could face whatever challenges awaited. "Let's check it out," he said, determination in his voice. "Whatever it is, we'll handle it together." The ship accelerated toward the signal, weaving through asteroid belts and navigating gravitational fields with ease. Jonas guided it skillfully, his confidence growing with every maneuver. As they approached the source, a massive structure emerged from the shadows, a derelict space station partially hidden in the debris of a destroyed planet. Its surface was scarred and pitted, yet its design was unlike anything Jonas had ever seen. "Wow," he whispered. This is incredible." "Indeed," Ecliptor said. "We must approach carefully. Unknown structures often hold dangers and surprises. Your judgment and observation are essential." Jonas took a deep breath, guiding the Ecliptor closer. The station's interior lights flickered on, revealing long-abandoned corridors and dormant machinery. Yet faint energy signatures suggested that something, or someone, was still active inside. "Looks like we're not alone," Jonas said, a mix of curiosity and caution in his voice. "Correct," the ship replied. "This is where your human qualities, curiosity, intuition, and moral judgment will matter most. Approach carefully, but do not underestimate the unknown." Jonas nodded. The adventure he had dreamed of all his life, hidden dangers, mysterious discoveries, and challenges that required wit over force, was finally unfolding. And for the first time, he understood the true meaning of the Ecliptor's choice. It wasn't just about piloting a ship. It was about partnership, trust, and the unique strengths that humanity brought to the galaxy. As the Ecliptor hovered outside the derelict station, Jonas felt a thrill of anticipation. The galaxy was full of wonders, threats, and opportunities. But he was ready. Together with the ship, he would face the unknown, and perhaps discover more than he ever imagined. Because in a universe where power and wealth often ruled, sometimes the human heart, mind, and courage made all the difference. The Ecliptor hovered silently above the derelict station, its lights scanning the ancient structure. Jonas gripped the controls, heart pounding with anticipation. Every instinct told him to be careful. The derelict had energy readings far beyond anything he had encountered, and there was no telling what or who might be inside. "Are we ready?" Jonas asked, his voice low but steady. "We are," the ship replied. "Remember, we rely on strategy, observation, and judgment. This is where your human qualities matter most. No algorithm can replace insight, compassion, or adaptability." Jonas nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He had come far, from a janitor mopping floors to the pilot of a legendary ship trusted by an intelligence that spanned circuits and systems. And now he faced a challenge that could test everything he had learned. The ship extended a docking arm, carefully guiding Jonas toward an entry port. The airlock hissed as it opened, revealing a dark, narrow corridor lined with faded panels and flickering lights. Shadows danced across the walls as Jonas stepped forward, the Ecliptor's sensors illuminating the path. "Stay alert," the ship advised. "Energy signatures suggest movement within the station. Unknown entities may be present." Jonas nodded and adjusted his grip on the rail. He felt a mix of excitement and tension. Every nerve in his body was alert, ready for action, yet he trusted the Ecliptor completely. As they moved deeper into the station, strange symbols and markings became visible on the walls. Jonas studied them, noticing patterns that hinted at intelligence and purpose. "This isn't just a station," he said. "Someone, or something, built this for a reason." "Correct," Ecliptor replied. "Understanding purpose is crucial. We must observe before acting. Decisions made in haste may have consequences." Suddenly, a faint glow appeared at the end of the corridor. A small drone-like entity hovered silently, its sensors focused on Jonas and the ship. Looks like someone, or something, is watching, Jonas muttered. Observation first, Ecliptor advised. Respond only if necessary. Understanding behavior is more valuable than confrontation. Jonas studied the drone, noticing its pattern of movement. He realized it was cautious, almost hesitant, as if testing his intentions. Carefully, he raised a hand, allowing the ship to project a soft, calming energy field. The drone paused, then slowly hovered aside, clearing the path. Good judgment, Ecliptor said. You chose observation and patience over aggression. This is why humans are unique. Decisions based on understanding often succeed where force fails. Jonas smiled, feeling a surge of pride. The lessons he had learned, intuition, creativity, patience, were paying off. Deeper inside the station, they discovered a central chamber filled with glowing machinery and floating energy cores. The air hummed with power, and Jonas could feel the intensity through the ship's sensors. This was no ordinary station. It was a control hub, perhaps abandoned, but still functioning in mysterious ways. Energy readings are high, Jonas said, eyes wide. What is all this? It appears to be a repository of knowledge and power, Ecliptor replied. Its origin is unknown, but we must proceed carefully. Direct interference may trigger defensive measures. Jonas nodded. So, we study first? Exactly. Observation, pattern recognition, and reasoning, Ecliptor said. Humans excel at this. You will need to interpret anomalies and act accordingly. As they explored the chamber, a sudden alarm echoed through the station. Panels lit up, and energy fields flared to life. Jonas froze. They've activated defenses, Ecliptor said. Do not panic. Your ability to think, adapt, and reason is our strength. Jonas's mind raced. He scanned the chamber, noticing the alignment of energy cores and the pattern of defensive pulses. Using the Ecliptor's guidance, he manipulated the ship's energy field to synchronize with the station's systems. Slowly, the defenses calmed, energy fields dimmed, and the alarms ceased. I did it, Jonas whispered, hardly believing it. Yes, Ecliptor said, hums of approval vibrating through the cabin. You understood, adapted, and acted. This is why humans succeed where others fail. Creativity, intuition, and moral judgment are invaluable. Jonas felt a new confidence. The station was no longer a threat. It was an opportunity, a chance to explore, learn, and uncover secrets that no one else could understand. Then, a holographic figure appeared in the chamber. It was humanoid, yet its features glowed with an otherworldly light. Jonas stepped back, startled. Do not be afraid, the figure said. We have observed your approach. Few have succeeded in entering this place without triggering destruction. Jonas swallowed hard. What are you? We are the guardians of knowledge, the figure replied. This station preserves history, science, and wisdom of many civilizations. We test those who enter to ensure they are worthy. Jonas looked at the Ecliptor. The ship pulsed softly, as if affirming his right to be here. You are worthy, the figure continued, because you act with understanding, care, and courage. You value life and reason. You are human. Jonas's heart swelled with pride. So, all of this station, the tests, it was to see if I could handle it? Yes, the figure said, and you have. You act with intelligence, patience, and empathy, qualities that machines alone cannot replicate. You are the one we would trust. Jonas smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility and honor. I won't let you down. You already have, the figure said. Now you may access the knowledge and guidance stored here. Use it wisely. The galaxy faces many challenges, and your insight will be crucial. As Jonas interacted with the station, Ecliptor guided him through the systems, helping him understand patterns, histories, and strategies that no ordinary human could decipher alone. Together, they unlocked advanced navigation charts, hidden star systems, and ancient technological blueprints. "This is incredible," Jonas said. "I never imagined so much knowledge, so much potential." "Human curiosity and reason unlock possibilities," Ecliptor said. "And with courage, you will apply them wisely." Suddenly, the communications panel lit up with an urgent message from the spaceport. The rival bidders had regrouped and were attempting to intercept the Ecliptor. Jonas's pulse quickened. "We can handle them," Ecliptor said. "Your intuition will guide our strategy. We will not fight blindly." Jonas nodded. He quickly analyzed the fleet's predicted path and devised a plan. Using a combination of stealth, misdirection, and clever energy pulses, he guided the Ecliptor to evade capture while avoiding conflict. The rival ships became frustrated, unable to predict their maneuvers, and finally disengaged. "Impressive," Ecliptor said. "Your ability to anticipate and adapt is exceptional. Humanity proves its value once more." Jonas leaned back in his chair, exhausted but exhilarated. "I guess we did it. We really did it." "Yes," Ecliptor said. "And remember, this is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast, full of challenges and wonders. But together, we can face anything. Your humanity, creativity, courage, and moral insight is our greatest strength." Jonas looked out at the stars, feeling a deep sense of purpose. He had started as a janitor, unnoticed and ordinary, yet now he piloted a legendary ship, trusted by an intelligence far beyond comprehension, and respected by forces across the galaxy. He realized that it was not wealth, power, or status that defined achievement, but understanding, courage, and the willingness to act for good. The Guardian station hummed softly around them, a symbol of knowledge, wisdom, and trust. Jonas knew he had passed the ultimate test, not by fighting or commanding, but by thinking, caring, and acting as a human should. He smiled at the Ecliptor. "Looks like being a janitor prepared me for this after all." The ship pulsed warmly, almost as if laughing. "You were ready because of who you are, not what you have done. Humans possess qualities that cannot be calculated or bought. That is why I chose you." Jonas leaned back, gazing at the galaxy ahead. Stars stretched endlessly, each a possibility, a challenge, a wonder. And now he was ready to explore it all, not alone, but with the Ecliptor at his side. For the first time in his life, Jonas understood the true meaning of being human in a galaxy that valued power above all. Humanity's creativity, courage, and moral insight had triumphed where wealth and force had failed. He was ordinary in appearance, but extraordinary in impact. And together, Jonas and the Ecliptor soared into the infinite, ready to face the adventures, challenges, and mysteries of a galaxy that was theirs to explore and to protect. Because sometimes the smallest, simplest human could achieve the greatest deeds, not through money or weapons, but through courage, intelligence, and the heart to do what was right. The galaxy would never forget the janitor who had become a legend.